Good evening. Thank you. I'm Beth Davison, and I'd like to begin tonight just by asking you a small favour. If you were handed a pencil earlier this evening, could you hold your pencil high in the air for me, please? Great, now pop your hands down. Now, if you weren't handed a pencil this evening, could you put your hands up? Now, those with their hands in the air are representative of the 21% of Norfolk pupils who are currently eligible for free school meals, part of low-income families, and therefore could have funding that they're currently not getting. Now, we all know that schools are facing a funding crisis. But what if I told you that there was a pot of money, £181 million, that schools could have had access to last year but didn't? I'm talking about the pupil premium and this lovely government form. Now, this is an amount of money supplied by the government to schools on behalf of pupils of low-income background. But the problem is that parents aren't filling out these forms. Their children automatically qualify for free school meals for the first few years of primary school, and they don't know the additional benefits of the pupil premium grant. So they need information and they need assistance. So now I'd like to show you My Pupil Premium, a website and chatbot assisting parents in filling out this form in a personal, non-judgmental way through a conversation, via a chatbot, or a simplified web form. We want to be the new way of filling out painful government admin. Now, I mentioned that 21% at the beginning, but let's talk about what that means monetarily. So in Norfolk alone, the amount of people who didn't fill out this form but could have amounted to £1.7 million. And this is why. This is the system that these forms have to go through after application. Now, as you're about to see, there are a lot of different stages, and therefore a lot of room for error. What we've identified here are the stumbling blocks, the problem areas that we have found a digital solution to. So the chatbot, as I said, is personal and warm. It removes the faceless government form that's currently preventing parents from filling that in, but it also means that the information is correct. There isn't any user error. The information doesn't get rejected further down the line, which is happening. Now, this was rolled out in Lakenham Primary School earlier this year just to see if there was need for change. And by encouraging and reminding parents to fill out their pupil premium forms through cold calling, 12 families came forward and 15 students were eligible. Now, this amounted to £124,000. One school after one marketing campaign. Now, this money helps in all sorts of areas. I mentioned free school meals. We heard the story of one mum who had recently lost her job. Now, because of the electronic payments at her child's school, she accrued over £200 worth of debt because he needed to eat warm school lunches, but she didn't have the money to top up that card, and she didn't want to tell the school that she had recently lost her job. Now, we want to create an environment where parents can claim the money that they are eligible for without feeling ashamed in doing so. Now, the benefit of My Pupil Premium isn't just for pupils and schools. There's a huge benefit for county councils. We will find these parents and we will educate them. That means more funding. More funding decreases absentee and exclusions, which currently costs our UK government £800 million per year. I was astounded by that figure. The long-term benefits of this are to reduce reliance on social welfare, greater social mobility for low-income families, and schools ranking higher on league tables as exam results improve. Now, I believe that those are benefits worth paying for. So what we'll be asking from councils is a 3-year software licensing contract for £45,000 per year on an invest now to save later promise. Our break-even point comes after just 2 councils agree to do this and quickly grows year on year as we approach more. Now, the 5-year plan is there because after 6 years, you have to reapply for the funding. It stays with one child for 6 years. It's a social impact bond where effectively they're paying for better social outcomes, facilitated by us, market leaders. No one is offering a supportive environment to do this. So the reason why we're pitching to make this a reality, here we are, is because this is a really personal cause for us. If we secured funding, we'd want market research, first of all, to build our relationship with the parents themselves. As you've gathered, this is huge. There's a lot of scope for improvement and a lot of scope to really broaden this out. There are 50 councils that we approach, so return on investment is pretty much guaranteed. Today, I'm going to leave you with the idea of My Pupil Premium, which is an interactive chatbot and website changing minds on the stigma facing low-income families and creating opportunities for children. And if I haven't said enough today, I'm going to leave you with Harley, because I think he might be able to say it a bit better. Oh, maybe we won't hear from Harley. That's okay. He had a lovely message for you that was 7 seconds long, but it's fine. We won't worry about him. Thank you so much. Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for your presentation. That was really insightful.
Thank you.
1.7 million lost in Norfolk is quite a significant amount in a few years. So interested to hear that. Thank you for sharing, well, quite a comprehensive overview of what you're planning and proposing, and for the long view that you were giving us over that 5-year period. I think one thing that we're quite interested to know about is what's your understanding about how stable this funding stream is politically and going forward?
So how stable, you mean future, how stable it is for us as a business, or do you mean how stable the revenue fund is currently?
The revenue generally, or your understanding as a business and how potentially that would change over governments or policy change and that sort of thing?
So the policy change thing is really interesting, but what has been in place since 2011 is this ability to apply for universal credit and free school meals. So I think whilst the governments always slightly tweak what's available, this has been standard for about 8 years now. And I think that that's why people don't always push it, because perhaps they are worried about policy changes. But I think at this point we can really see that it's been 8 years of kind of this stable notion of being able to apply. And it's probably not going anywhere. So I'm not worried that the revenue stream would disappear. Do you mean that parents might not be able to apply for this in the future?
Potentially.
I think, given the background research that we've done, which has only been from 2011, but that is 8 years, that I think it's a stable and viable enough business option to know that if they were encouraged in this way, it would have benefits. It's also not the only thing that we were looking at. When you pull at this thread and you really look at the available options of government funding, there are other things that you can apply for that are outside of, oh, I didn't know I was timed on this, I'm sorry. Yeah, there are other things that you can apply for that we have looked into, and I would love the opportunity to talk you through it when I've got no bell ringing.
You're the first, thank you.
Great, cheers.